So welcome again to the Pickspace AI and Property Podcast. I'm Maor Cohen, the founder and CEO of Pickspace, a smart platform that simplifies property management. In each episode, I'll speak with industry leaders to explore what's working, what's changing, and where the industry is headed.
Mhm.
So let's jump into today's conversation with my dear guest, Monteca Bond.
Hello, everyone. I'm Monteca. Nice to meet everyone. I'm so excited to be here. I really am.
And that's great. Please share with us a little bit of your journey, what brought you here to this moment, what do you do with the CVG, and a little bit about the property management around it.
Okay. So I am currently employed with CVG Properties. My home site base is Gentry's Walk, and I am the assistant manager. I've been there for 7 years. I've been in multifamily housing, the business, like going on almost a decade. I got started in Canton, Ohio as a leasing consultant because my previous career, I was in banking. And so we had went through a merger. I got laid off. So I was at the employment source in Canton, Ohio, and just going looking for jobs or whatnot. And I come across like the leasing consultant, and I was like, okay, I check off on everything here. So this is great. And I end up doing the application. Long story short, I got hired, and I knew nothing about multifamily industry at all. So it was just like something brand new to me. And I was like, okay, I get to talk to people. I do that all the time. That's no problem. And now I get to show them their home. And also, the community that I worked at was called Rachel Woods. And so it was a nice little community, small. It had maybe 150 units there. And so I just dived right on in. And I was like, okay, this is pretty neat, just to see how everything goes with getting an apartment. I've had an apartment myself, but I never knew the behind the scenes. And so just learning from there, I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. And it has some great advantages if people want to take advantage of it. Hey, you can live on site, get a rent deduction because, everybody needs a deduction, a sale there. So, I mean, it was pretty cool though. And touring people, touring the property, like listening to their stories, because I love a good story. So it's just like, why are you moving? So from Canton, Ohio, I was there at Rachel Woods for about maybe about like 2 years. And then I went on, relocated to Arizona here. And now I'm with CVG Properties, and it's just been such a good journey for me because, when I got to Arizona, I temped around at different places through temp agencies. And so I was just like, okay, let me just see like what's all out here before I get myself planted into, a company. So I got to be out in the Chandler area. I got to be out in Scottsdale, Gilbert, Mesa, Tempe, Fountain Hills. Like I was everywhere. And I recommend if you go into this industry, temping is like a great way to get at. And so when I was like temping at other properties, that gave me a chance to see what was all out here, learn about different management companies. Most important, let me see if I actually like these people that I'm going to see 40 hours out of my week. Because I was definitely offered positions, but some I did have to decline and just like, no, this isn't, where I want to be. But where I'm currently at, I found my position through temping. And Ashley Gibson hired me, and me and her got along very well. And so I'm very thankful. And so I get to help out at other communities and everything else through CVG, which, yeah, I just have to say it's been such a journey and always learning about the market and how things are, changing, especially with us having AI coming in to the scene now. Yes, because everything's evolving.
Exactly. That's actually my next
Okay.
questions to all, not only about AI, but over the past
Yes.
year, a lot of moving, right? People move. So can you share from your perspective what you see that like shift, what you notice in tenant behavior, leasing preferences, or expectations? How are those like changes impacting
Well,
your day-to-day
I would have to say, ever
operation?
since after COVID, people are really, really shopping. And with the economy, people are really wanting to get the most for their dollars, which I don't blame them, which we're all consumers. And so they're looking at like the community, the location. People are looking at reviews. People are wanting to make sure everything is modern inside the home because this is the most expensive thing that you paid for. They want to make sure that they like the staff that they're paying their hard earned dollars to. Also, making sure the community is clean and is at a location that they like. I mean, where I'm currently at Gentry's Walk, we had like some long term residents, and I'm just like so surprised. Like, you've been here for how long? Like 15, 20 years. I was like, oh my God. So when our longest resident, she had been there for like 25 years. So when I walked into her place, it was like a time capsule. I was like, oh my gosh, like all this original stuff. Like, but she kept it so nice, so nice. So, I mean, we were taking pictures of it. Like, we put it in our chat. Like, look, we got a resident that has like, all the original tile and the flooring and everything. Like, can you believe it? But look how good she's maintained it though you know residents besides also they're looking for like their budgets are very important. So I always ask prospects like when they're out, like, so tell me what it's like out here, like, and I'm telling you, they be spilling the tea, and I'm just like, what? Some good, some not so good, but it's just like, okay, well, I'm glad that you came here to Gentry's Walk, and we'd love to have you. So, definitely. And I always try to make everything personable. I'm asking prospects, so what do you like? Like, what are you looking for? Like, you tell me. Let me see if I got what you need. So
And
definitely.
people talk, people share.
Yeah, people do share. I always ask the question like, so why are you moving? I mean, I hear stories from, just starting a new chapter, separations, life has changed, new jobs. I'm like, hey, everybody loves a new dollar, the new monies. Congratulations to you. Needing more space, or they're just looking for change from their old community or whatnot. Then they tell me about like, oh, well, we ran into this, maintenance wasn't, taking care of this. And maintenance is very important. So I have to say, the gentlemen that I work with, they are really good maintenance men. They're on top of it. And I always tell residents, hey, if you see them out there on the golf cart just hanging out, tell them get to work. Okay, get to work. You can tell them Monteca said it.
Actually, that brings me to the
Mm-hmm.
next thing. You say people tell him, but how do you do it with tech stack? How technology is helping you?
Let me.
So let's get into like your tech stack, day-to-day tools. Share with us, what do you use, what you don't use, what do you
Mm-hmm.
like about what you use, you don't like. So please, if you can share a little
Yeah,
bit about the
absolutely.
technology behind.
So the software that we use across the board is Yardi. We also use CRM Elevate, and which I really like because it does have the texting. We text residents. Also, we email them. Of course, always phone calling. And of course, word of mouth because I'm always out in the community chat and just to see what's going on. Because, there are second set of eyes and ears, like, so what's going on? Residents love how they can put work orders online with us. And always, we have residents that are not computer savvy. Give us a call. I'll type in the work order for you. That's job security there.
And would you put the work order in the Yardi or in the
Well,
other
actually, we
system?
put it in Yardi, and you can put it in Elevate as well too. Because what they're doing now, pretty soon they're going to Yardi is going to be done discarded, so it'll all be through CRM Elevate. So I really like it because we do our leases through there. We also you can do all the information from like from the touring from the first time from the first time the resident prospect has contacted us. It does everything. And we also just added a new feature. We have our sidekick. So that's like our little AI there. So if you have any questions or whatnot about whatever that's going on in CRM, we can just go ahead, click on it, type in our question like a chat GPT, and then it'll go ahead and answer us, which is great feedback because before we didn't have that, So I really like that features and I use that feature like all the time. And it helps out with like, when you want to make the notices a little bit fancy, like, hey, I just want you to know. So it definitely is like one of my favorite tools. Yeah.
And till now, really, you just shared a lot of great stuff, and I'm sure everything is great. But would you like describe some like moments of something you had, like a system broke or down or created more work than it solved? Can you share with us the pain point
Yeah,
or
definitely.
frustration?
We've had like equipment go down. We was out of a printer for like a week. I probably shouldn't say that, but we were. We reached out to our IT department and for some reason like they just couldn't get it back online or whatnot. And so we're paperless at the office that I work at. So it's a lot of scanning that we do and things like that. So of course, since I've been in the industry for a little bit, I still know how to do, pen and paper or whatnot. So when those things come up, we do have a good IT support system. We also have contract with Merit, and they are a tremendous help with us. So that's a good thing. We don't have too many issues. We've had like our internet go down. So, that's like a free day. It's like, I can't even do anything, but what's going on now? So then that's when you tap into them other skills to be personable with prospects and let them know what's just going on because everybody loves communication. So that's the whole key. Communicate, and letting residents know what's going on. Like, okay, we don't have any internet services. Not our fault though. And it's so funny when I would have to say our Gen Zers, whatnot, when we didn't have internet, they were just like, they didn't know what to do with themselves. And this is like, it's okay. Pen and paper.
You mentioned communication. I'm looking to ask you for the most sensitive communication between tenants and the admins, right? Landlords and property management. So let's talk about it. How do you handle payments
Payments,
and collection?
we do accept them online as well. Of course, checks and things like that. Now, I will tell you one thing I don't, every life happens. Life happens and, people's circumstances where layoffs may occur, things happen. So we try our hardest to like work with our residents to help them out with from payment plans and things like that. Also, we work with the City of Mesa Housing Section 8. So therefore, I was talking to one of the housing specialists and we were talking about like rental assistance and things like that. So she provided me like a list and everything else. So of course, I copied that and, I email blasted to residents that need it. And so it's just like, hey, these people are paying rent. I just need y'all to dial for dollars. That's what you got to do. Okay. So that right there.
And when you do the online payments, who needs to pay for the fees, like processing fees? If it's like through credit cards or through ACH, would you push it on the tenants to pay or
Well, with us,
you pay it?
I tell residents all upfront what the fees are. Even when, like, when they pay their rent online with us, there is a merchant fee that we do not get. So I tell them about that. Like, please be aware of that, and going,
Is it a big amount?
yes, it's $9.95. So, some people are like, that's an additional $10. I know. So that's the price you pay for convenience. So we don't get it though. I wish we did, but we don't. So, just explaining and educating the resident and the prospect. That's the most important thing of my job. That's most important is to educate everyone, and being upfront with them and letting them know like, okay, the pricing does change how the market is, our website is always updated to let you know what we got going on. And if you're not for sure, please give us a call. Write us an email. Come in the office. That's what you can do. Come talk.
What do you do if a tenant goes and have some late payments? Do you charge them extra
Yeah,
or how would
absolutely.
you
You
deal?
know the investors want their money. So late payments are definitely talked about, discussed. We email blast right before rent is due. Like, hey, we don't want you to pay those late fees or whatnot. So therefore, this is just a friendly reminder. We have those go out in our email blast. Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely. I have to say, at Gentry's Walk, we have some really great residents. We do.
that's
Yeah,
really
absolutely, we do. And our delinquency has been pretty good. So I'm thankful.
how much time and energy would you say your team spends each month chasing down payments, setting
Yeah,
up
I do
plans?
have my no shade. I do have my repeat offenders, and so they know. And and I even have to say with my offenders, they always make their payment. They do. They always make it. And so I'm just like, hey, I know things are getting a little tight here or whatnot, And then on top of that, always sending them out like a small balance notice, by email and things like that. I do go out and deliver those, those happy notes like, hey, you got a happy note here. And I always say, if you are in trouble, please let me know. Talk to us so we can get you some good, tools here, put them in place for you. And again, reach out to, these agencies that will help out with assisting you with rental payment. And never be ashamed or never be embarrassed, life happens.
Agree. And from contract management perspective, like if we shift a little bit to the workflow, the beginning of the life of the tenant, the cycle, I would say. And so in terms of documentation, leases, maintenance, logs, notice, how would you keep everything organized? The leases and the contract,
So, like I
would
said,
you sign them
we're
through
all paper.
DocuSign
Yeah,
or
we're all paperless. So with Yardi, of course, we go out. What you type into to our rent roll just to roll everything out to see where our AR is at, our accounts receivable, and just to see where who's paid, who has not paid, or whatnot. So I print out like who hasn't paid or whatnot, and I personally call them just to see what's going on. Yeah, I personally reach out. So we're pretty organized in that way. And Yardi and CRM keeps us, our office definitely organized even to the max. So that's like a good plus because that software does come in handy. Because I've had like some other coworkers that worked at other communities. They worked with other softwares or whatnot. And I'm just like, wow, that software's pretty old. Like you guys are still using that when I do like market surveys and things like that, I'm just like, okay. And then another thing that we've added to our community as well, our flex pay. So you would reach out to Flex or whatnot and create your payment with them and where you'll set that up your dates when you're going to pay. Of course, you're still going to have those late fees or whatnot, but I have to say a lot of our residents use that and they really like it. We've had good feedback on the flex pay. Yeah, so we offer that service to our residents.
so to summarize, the contracts are going through Yardi, not DocuSign or anything else.
No, they go straight through Yardi, our community. And then we go ahead and email our leases out, our renewals out, all by email. And then, like I said, if
Oh, that's good.
we have our residents that are not too tech savvy. So, we're coming to the office and we have the tablet that they can use and just give them that guidance there.
Nice. And I think we're closing to the closing thoughts. So, first of all, this has been incredibly insightful so far.
Thank
So,
you again for the
Monteca,
invite.
I want to thank you again. And just a final question, just to wrap it up. If you could shape your finger and solve, one recurring issue or something big in your property operation, but you'll solve it instantly, what would it be?
What would it be? I probably would take on the whole persona of Oprah Winfrey, but like you get a rent deduction, and you get like, all the new appliances and everything else, all the things that, our community is well kept. She is vintage, but she's very classic. And classic never goes out of style. So I would definitely do, because how high rents have been, I would do a rent deduction for our residents, definitely, because everybody needs that, like in this economy right now, like, plus groceries and things like that. Yeah, I would do a rent deduction, definitely.
And that's a great wish. Hopefully,
Yes.
I'm not sure it will come into reality, but it's a
Yeah,
good
it's a
wish.
good wish. The investors probably wouldn't like that, like, hey, right.
That's for sure. Unless they get it from the country or from the state. So, well, Thank you
Thank
again
you.
for joining us in the Pickspace AI Property Podcast. And thank you everyone for tuning in. If you found this insightful or helpful, follow us for more. And if you are ready to simplify property management, visit pickspace.com. See you next time.